In this video, we will assign dynamic memory after the data segment in order to create structures that are allocated at runtime. Now we will use the Raspberry Pi Connect service. We select Connect via, then Remote Shell, wait for the connection, and maximize the window. Next, we increase the font size and change to the Arm64 directory. At this point, the Arm64 development environment is ready to use. Example 47. The example asks us to create a list like this, where we have a pointer called head that points to the first node, and so on. To achieve the allocation, we must understand memory layout. Dynamic memory is allocated after data, unlike the stack. We will use two procedures, one called push, which will request the required memory size. We start by receiving the arguments val and head. Then we obtain the last address of data using break. We allocate 16 bytes for the new node and assign val and the head to x0 and x1. The new node now becomes the head of the list, then we return. Next, we will illustrate how the list printing procedure works. We start by preserving the LR and FB. We move the frame and assign head to a temporary register. We check if the temporary is not 0. If it is not 0, we invoke the external function itoa and print the buffer, that is, each number. We move to the next value and iterate. When the temporary becomes 0, control flow changes to restoring the LR and FB registers, and finally we return. To solve example 47, we edit the file 47list.s using nano. When entering, we see the global directive and the start label as usual. We declare the external itoa. Then, in the data section, we declare the 64-bit head pointer or word with an initial value of 0. In the BSS section, we declare the print buffer. In the text section, we start the program by writing the first push segment. We move the immediate value 30 into register x0, load the address of head into x1, load the contents of head, and invoke push. Remember that insertion is at the beginning, so the list behaves like a stack. We scroll down in the code to find the push procedure. It is a procedure because it does not return a value, it only modifies memory. We load the arguments val and head into x10 and x11. Now we must obtain the last data address. We do this by calling break, moving 214 into x8, and invoking it with svc. Once we have the address in x0, we move it to x12, and call break again, this time with immediate 16 in x0 to reserve memory. This difference is important. The calls obtain the address and reserve memory, respectively. Once reserved, we store the node. We move val into register x10. The next pointer will be the head pointer, using an 8-byte offset. We load the address of head into x13. Now we store the new node at the head address, overwriting it. With this, we insert at the beginning of the list and then return. We scroll up again in the code to see the second insertion. This segment is the same as before, except that it uses a different value. In the same way, we move the immediate 20 into x0, load the address of head into x1, load its contents, and invoke push. This does exactly the same as before, only increasing dynamic memory. Now we proceed with the third insertion. Again, we move the immediate 10 into x0, load the address of head into x1, load its contents, and invoke push. This behaves exactly like the previous calls, only increasing dynamic memory. This code will insert 3 values into the list. Each one invokes the push procedure, which reserves memory for storage. Once the list is created, we proceed to print it. We load the address of head into x0 and load its contents. Then we invoke the print procedure, which iterates over the list. This procedure consists of initialization and a loop, where on each iteration it preserves the required registers and reads each value. We use SDP to preserve the LR and FB registers, which is a push onto the stack. We set the new frame and load head into X21. Once initialized and with registers preserved, we enter the loop, which checks whether the list is empty to jump to end. If the list is empty, it jumps to the end label, which restores the LR and FB registers using LDP and returns to the program counter. But if the list is not empty, it does not jump to end and instead continues sequential execution, reading the first list value. With that value, we invoke the itoa function, passing the value in register x0 and the buffer in register x1 as arguments. itoa returns the modified buffer with the number in ASCII representation, and we proceed to print it with the proper arguments. After printing the value, we move with an 8-byte offset to find the pointer to the next value in the list. We then iterate back to the loop label and repeat this for every number in the list, whether there are 3 or many more. The key part of the loop is the condition being checked, so that when the end of the list is reached it jumps to the end label. We scroll up in the code, and this represents the list printing process. Once printed, we proceed by using the exit segment. After finishing the program, we save it and exit nano. In the command line, we assemble the code using the as command. After typing the as command, we specify the source file name and use the O parameter to name the object file. Next, we must link using the LD command, providing the itoa object file and the list object file to integrate everything. We then use the O parameter to specify the executable file name. This executable will contain everything needed to run the program. We run the file using / and the executable name. Press Enter, and it should print the values stored in the list. Remember that the list behaves like a stack due to insertion at the beginning, so the first inserted number is printed last. That is all for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and enable notifications. See you in the next video.